This is what leads me to believe Jeremy nailed it when he said that this is coming from way, way, way above, because anybody in the industry knows what the impact of Heroes World was. They could see what that doing it like this is the worst possible way to do it. This is somebody in a grudge match over dollars and cents and points on the margin and whatever else, the brokerage fee, and just trying to bring it down. And honestly, my other analysis is this, just reading between the lines of what they said here, that this is a preparation for the direct market to implode. Like what happens if the direct market goes away? They're going to be ready to go right through Random House into the book trade and into the mass market in Walmart and Target and wherever else they've been preparing their inroads for now for months. It's super obvious from their marketing and messaging, to me anyway, that's what's going on. Jeremy, you're nodding. What do you think about that?
Well, okay. They've been in those markets. This is, going through Random House and all those other options isn't new. But if they still aren't penetrating market share, because no matter which way you want to slice the pie, if you're not telling a story that people want to read on an ongoing basis, you're just not going to get any traction. And that's been the number one problem they've had, is getting traction with stories that people want to read.
I think that's true in direct market stores. And what I'm seeing, my analysis of this is they're saying, look, there's a much wider world. I'm going to mute you for a second here. There's a much wider world in the bookstores and the mass market. The direct market, compared to that, even if we maxed out the direct market, it's not enough. We want to expand readership, is what they're saying. All their marketing is at this young adults-oriented $7.95 price point, scholastic mass market point. To me, the signals are real clear that they're like, the direct market, if it stays, great, but if it goes, we got irons in other fires.
That is a purely evil motivation, like completely evil. And frankly, if this happens, and that's the reason they're doing this, then like I'm all on board with DC and whatever AT&T whatever failing as miserably as they can. That is the most evil thing I can think of.
Is it evil, Brian, or is it cynical, bottom line oriented, which is all that matters in the corporate world anyway? Tell me why it's evil compared to that it's just completely a dollars and cents equation. We don't care about loyalty to this direct market that brought us where we are. That means nothing. That's the past. We're talking about the future, right? So tell me why.
And that's what I'm talking about. If you are a company whose entire motivation and line of thinking all along has been our retail partners, and you suddenly abandon your retail partners, then damn you to hell. You should fail. That's disgusting.
I'm right there with you, Brian. Also. And several at least two different retailers posted pictures on in the DC forum of what's going on outside their front windows right now. National Guard vehicles parked across the street, people marching in the street in front of their stores, boards up over their windows. And this is the time to pull this off? Really? This is so ridiculously, blatantly unconcerned about anyone and anything except let's make some more money. And honestly, again, going back to Jeppy, Brian, Brian did not hear Jeppy's text. Jeppy texted those who ignore history are doomed to repeat it, much in line with the Heroes World thing. And I mean, one of the things that I personally told DC, I mean, I know all the guys who work for DC. And this has been one of the most difficult parts of this whole process is all of the people that interface with retailers who work for DC, Adam Phillips and Vince Laterio and all of these guys have had decades worth of we've had decades of relationships with them. We've eaten dinner with them, we drank with them, we laughed with them, we joked with them, we met with them in endless meetings. And it's really difficult to have that relationship with somebody and then have it turned around to where, and fuck you. Pardon my French.
Okay, I get where you're saying, but I look at the signals of where it's been going, dude, since I was a retailer, right? When I started as a retailer, there was something called the RRP, right? Where DC would reach out, and on their dime, they would bring in the people that they deemed to be respected retailers that they could get like in a sort of a focus group of who they felt were the best and brightest retailers. This was in the Bob Wayne days, when the person managing the relationship was an ex-retailer themselves, when they were the ones that built this industry on the back.
He's listening in the background.
Right? So those guys are gone and retired, and that has been established. And now we're in this new world. That was the world where comics had no acceptance. The comic stores were the ghetto, were the trash. You guys, everyone pulled out of that and showed the new model, brought comics to a new level of respectability as an art form and as literature and everything else. And it has just outgrown the direct market. And now it has transcended. It is viable in the mass market. And so now the DM does not matter. All of those relationships they used to have where they would invite retailers, dude, we flipped that on ourselves when we created Comics Pro. And we said, hey, we're going to make the event and we're going to pay for it ourselves and invite DC to it, right? It flipped the whole equation, and it stopped being DC no longer really cared about the direct market because the slice of their pie that it represented shrank and shrank and shrank. The whole pie is growing, but the direct market slice does not, and frankly probably cannot grow enough to make a dent in what AT&T needs to in their corporate debt.
And that's an entire other thing is when all these mergers and acquisition happen, when you get down to a company the size of DC, which is probably contributing like 0.01% of the overall bottom line, they're a rounding error. Like, they're literally a rounding error. You could drop DC tomorrow and it would not affect AT&T's bottom line at all.
Yes.
But it will destroy an entire industry and network of retailers who've spent their lives building. Steve One says, Brian G, are you blind to the diamond monopoly that is destroying the industry? Absolutely not. There is a monopoly problem. I fully admit it. But the answer is not destroy everything and then hope that we can rebuild. That will not happen. If we destroy everything right now, it's done, guys. You ain't getting another.
Yeah, that's what
coming out of the.
So that's the part of the equation.
Yes, it did.
Where I feel like they are missing the boat is that that what they're not realizing is there is no market for the floppies outside of the direct market.
Right.
And I think they are not realizing there is no understanding of the creative production chain that leads to the graphic novel, and that the weekly comics and the hardcore fans and the fast feedback and everything else that provides is what makes graphic novels be viable in the long run. It's the constant need and generation of that story. If they switch to now, like, okay, 6 months between graphic novels coming out, I'm not saying they can't do that and can't make great things, but it's a whole different model of risk and production costs and scheduling and timing that I really don't think the people who made this decision quite understand that piece of it.
Or care about. That's the important thing. They don't care about it. No, they don't.
Yes,
you're right. The other thing about this is, again, my opinion. I don't have anything other than my gut feel to go upon here. But the only thing AT&T cares about, AT&T Warner Brothers cares about, is the IPs. If they can make movies and animated features and toys and games and cards and all that other exciting stuff out of the IPs they already have, they don't. You just got done saying the comic book distribution, the printing business, it's a pinprick. It's not even that.
Correct. And 2 points there. I think that there is that. That's the only reason they don't just say, oh, let's just license these characters out and just end DC Comics. That's the only reason, is because they recognize the IP creation is worth something, because they see Marvel does it and is succeeding. So they're like, we have to ape what they are doing.